That's the bigger story.
Have they checked out all these secret passageways?
Who knows? Who knows? This is, I think he jumped off the balcony into this big pond and then swam over to I-20 and hightailed it out of here.
Oh.
He's probably in Alabama right now.
Well, he's wherever he is, they're going to catch him because he's probably going to die laughing. He's laugh himself to death over this.
Yeah, this is one guy who pulled a good one on the officers here. There's no doubt about it.
Well, what in the hell? This is an apartment. What are they doing shooting into an unoccupied...
What they did, Neil, was they evacuated the apartment. You know how they are around Atlanta. They're all set up, two-story buildings with breezeways and staircases all around. Well, they evacuated the whole place. This was about 4 o'clock in the morning, so you figure these poor folks who are in here, oh, man, they're jerked out of bed. They got to get out. They don't know what's going on. They don't know where to go. So the SWAT guys show up, the extra police officers show up, DEA's there, and then the decision is made to go in. The fire department's there just in case they burn the apartment down with tear gas. They absolutely trashed the place. When I finally got up to it, I mean, smoke was pouring out of it. It was a real scene.
And meanwhile, this poor guy 6 blocks away is still saying, hey, there's nobody out there.
That's what's remarkable about it. They honestly, here's what one cop told me.
Yeah.
They saw these guys go in. They, without a doubt, in their minds, knew that their suspect was in that apartment. And when they had somebody on the telephone, and that number there was the last number, I guess, the apartment complex folks had on record.
Yeah.
They honestly believed they had their suspect on the phone, and they were saying, give it up, come on out. And the man refused, and then they said, oh, yeah? Well, we'll go in and get you. And this guy's maybe not as many as 6 blocks, but just a few blocks over on Six Flags Drive, and he's over there going, wait a minute. But,
I wonder if he heard the shooting when it started.
Well,
here
they
they
have
come.
been close enough. But, there have been some serious cases of mistaken, officers going into the wrong house, the wrong address. I mean, people have been shot.
Well, as a matter of fact, maybe I ought to read a few of those cases on the air this morning because, of course, in my government outrage feature, there is no shortage of them.
No.
Of DEA just blowing people. I mean, it's lucky there wasn't some innocent grandma in there who couldn't get to her wheelchair in time to evacuate.
Yeah, there's a lot of things, and I honestly, the agents on scene here certainly, we joke about it, but it is not a funny situation.
Well, what's the report on the birds?
Oh, the birds looked all right. I made a special point of checking with the animal control officer if the birds were okay.
Awesome.
There are 2 fancy parakeets and that big parrot. He seems to be all right. He was yelling, he wasn't coming out, you dirty rats.
Boy, I'll bet that place is full of parrot squeeze right about now.
I tell you, I would have thought that all those explosions would have given one of those birds a heart attack.
Okay, do birds have heart attacks?
I don't know.
Okay.
All right,
hey,
Neil.
Thanks.
See you later.
Okay, that's Richard Sangster on the scene. Oh, gee. I tell you what, while we're doing this, let me run back to my office and interspaced with our discussion with you people on let's end this stupid drug war that we have going on in this country. I'll tell you of some of the other things that have happened in DEA raids around the country. 18 minutes after 8 o'clock, Neal Boortz on WSB.
Station. Now, more of Neal Boortz on News Talk 750 WSB.
872-0750. That's the number. News Talk 750 WSB. Malcolm's been waiting for us out there in Home Park. How you doing, Malcolm? Go ahead.
Listen, the real victim in the war on drugs has been the U.S. Constitution. In fact, I'm almost tempted to say that's the excuse for it, because it has been the excuse to get rid of the Fourth Amendment, to get rid of the Fifth Amendment, to dramatically reduce the Second Amendment. It seems like it's every time we turn around, we've got to do this to fight the war on drugs. Your comment about just let the people do the drugs, that's our opinion with alcohol and tobacco. If anybody is old enough to remember Prohibition, it failed miserably.
Our war on drugs right now is the modern-day Prohibition.
And just like Prohibition in the 1920s, the main effect it has is that it has set up criminal enterprises, that we were cursed with the mafia feet, still are.
Yeah.
And it was basically set up by Prohibition. These guys were small-time hoods until Prohibition gave them a financial base. And it's like, we haven't learned. Now we've got these Colombian gangs, and they're taking over. You have to understand, these drug gangs run quite a few governments in Latin America now.
Yeah.
And we're going to put up with the fact that government is an ongoing criminal enterprise, which is an interesting explanation of government, by the way, for a long time in Latin America. We're going to be cursed with these people. If we took away, you won't take away the profit motive for it. There's plenty of profit in selling beer, ask Anheuser-Busch. What you will take care of is the ungodly markup in the stuff. If the street value of cocaine were reflected to what it actually would cost to grow the stuff and bring it over here, it would be a dirt cheap habit. It wouldn't have any chic, any cool, any class to it. It would be something that would be looked at as a dumb habit for dumb people.
Well, it is, exactly. And there is also this, and that is, if I decide that I want to go sit in a bathroom in my house and shoot up heroin, that act deprives no other person anywhere of their right to life, their right to liberty, or their right to property. It does not constitute the use of force against any other person. It does not constitute a fraud against any other person. And it clearly ought not to be illegal. I mean, in a free country, you are supposed to be free to do stupid, moronic, mindless, idiotic things, as long as you're not initiating force against another person or using fraud against another person.
Yes, but the whiny mucus people out there will tell you for long periods of time that this is going to destroy our country. People don't realize marijuana was legal until 1934 in this country. You could buy it over the counter. Heroin was legal until about 1912. Cocaine, a little bit earlier. We didn't have a great problem with it until the self-righteous social engineers decided that evolution needed to be stopped.
Unbelievable. Listen, okay, thanks a lot. This is the Washington Post describing a drug raid on the apartment of Harry Davis in Fort Washington, Maryland. 15 police officers carrying assault weapons and dressed in black garb that looked like some kind of a ninja outfit stormed in, knocked Davis to the floor, and held him there with a shotgun to his head. They ran through the house. Davis said they ran through the house and pulled my girlfriend out of bed with no clothes on, and then they spread her legs out like she was hiding up in her. I'm wearing pants and no shirt, and she's naked, and they open the windows, and it's winter, and we're freezing, and then they proceed to destroy the place. During the raid on Davis's apartment, police tore out the walls and crushed family photographs in their frames. There was a raid in St. Louis, where a federal appeals court decision, in a decision on a raid, noted that after a detective of the St. Louis Police Department, in an effort to search the ceiling for drugs, accidentally stepped on the head of a baby, they called off the raid. Climbed up on a couch to search the ceiling for drugs and stepped on and crushed the head of a baby. Oh boy. Listen, folks, why don't we just clear out the jail space for the people who constitute threats to our safety, and just let these morons destroy themselves with drugs? What do we lose? 28 minutes after 9 o'clock, 872-0750.
This is Tommy Estes with Estes Heating and Air Conditioning. Make the smart choice. Upgrade to an energy-saving Amana dual-fuel heating and cooling system. And for a limited time, get up to $900 cash back from Georgia Power and Amana. Or qualified customers can take advantage of our special no-down payment, 48-month low 5.9% financing plan. Either way, it's high-efficient dual-fuel heating at a great price. Want to avoid those annoying breakdowns? Keep your system in top operating condition all year long with ST's full-service planned maintenance program. ST's can make your home a healthier place to live.
Good morning, it's 9:30. I'm Marcy Williams in the WSB News Center. This update is brought to you by the Franchise Seminar. Our top local story this half hour, SWAT teams storm an Austell apartment searching for a drug suspect, only to learn he's not there. Cobb police now concede they had reached the wrong man by phone, leading them to believe he was inside what turned out to be an empty apartment. The jury in the Fred Tokar state murder trial today will watch a video about Sarah Tokar's, the first time ever such a video has been used in a murder case. Tokar's faces a possible death sentence. The state Supreme Court overturns the murder conviction of former Atlanta businessman Weldon Wayne Carr. It'll be a month before the D.E.A. decides.
Who that is? I like this. Let it run. Let it run. Let it run.
Who that is? Who that is? Why every time I call, it's the same thing. You got to be on the phone with Elaine, or either Shauna or Donna. On the phone, click. You can try, girl. Quit lying, girl. You must think I'm stupid or either blind, girl. Cause something ain't right, and I'm finna go. You said y'all broke up a long time ago. And who is L.A. Snow?
But ain't nobody. That's just my baby daddy.
Who that is? Who that is?
I don't know why I like that. I do not know what he is saying either. Who daddy? I know who daddy is. I can understand that part of it. Who daddy is? Something about being on the phone with Elaine. But I just like it. I like it. It's just part of the multicultural personality that I bring to this radio show. It is killing people. It is making criminals of innocent people. And think about this. The war on drugs is the principal excuse that the imperial federal government of the United States uses for almost every incursion that it makes into our privacy, our lives, and our freedoms. The war on drugs. The federal government looks into your bank accounts. Your banks make reports to the federal government whenever you deposit or withdraw more than a certain amount of money. Why? The excuse the government used to get the Bank Secrecy Act passed, and it is the Bank Secrecy Act that allows the government to get out there and look at your bank accounts and get into your financial records without your knowledge. The excuse for the Bank Secrecy Act? Well, we need to fight the war on drugs. And the government has these seizure laws where they can just take your money and take your property. No due process. They don't have to prove that you were involved in any sort. What is the excuse that the government uses for its seizure laws? The war on drugs. If we will get rid of this war on drugs, if we will admit that we have lost it, if we will admit that it is futile, if we will set it aside, then we also take away from the imperial federal government of the United States its principal excuse for the gross wholesale violations of the privacy of individual Americans that goes on in our society. We're better off with drug addicts than the all-powerful federal government. 8720750, that's the number you want to join. Tell me what a libertine I am. We'll be back.
This morning on Atlanta's Morning News with Scott Slade.
Breaking developments in that standoff at an apartment complex in Austell.
Tear gas has just been lobbed into the apartment.
Fall from grace, apparently, for a former Fulton County
Lawyers for
prosecutor.
Fred Tokars decide whether to put him on the
Highs
stand.
in the 70s to around 80.
Injury crash, west side perimeter, 285 north.
Atlanta's #1 morning show. First, fast, accurate. Exclusively on News Talk 750 WSB. Depend on it.
Being a direct
column that appeared about a week ago in the Clayton News Daily by their Steve Jones, their news editor. This guy sounds like a libertarian. I just looked over during that break. It is folly to fight on when a war is lost, he says. Favoring this legalization is not the same thing as favoring usage. Everything that is morally wrong need not be illegal. Let's see, it says, Ideally, laws should restrain citizens from infringing on the rights of others. Right. As long as the user doesn't drive, give drugs to minors, disturb the peace, or harm others, leave him alone. Simply require him to bear the consequences of his foolish choices if he loses employment or health. Let no taxpayer be forced to put things right. That's it. Let people be responsible for their own actions. If their own actions lead to their unemployment or their poor health, then let them suffer the consequences. If they infringe upon the rights of other people, let them suffer the consequences. 872-0750. It looks like, Rob beat Jackson just by seconds. How you doing, Rob?
Hi, good.
Go ahead.
Well, I agree with you 100% that what we're doing is not working.
It's futile.
Absolutely. But there's no way that we could deny them access to health care.
No, I didn't say deny them access.
So what do you pay for all these?
No, I didn't say deny them access. If they can afford it, let them have it. I said that the taxpayers should not foot the bill for their treatment.
But you pay for everybody's health care. You pay for the health care of a heart attack victim just as much as you pay for the health care of a drug addict. You are already paying for that.
I don't understand the point you're trying to make.
Well, the point is legalization would only make it just that much worse.
Oh, I think drug use would go down. Because you wouldn't have so many people trying to get other people involved so that they could have customers for their lucrative drug trade.
But that isn't what's proving out in the Scandinavian countries that have legalized.
Oh, I think you're wrong there, sir. I think that there have been decreases in the use of hard drugs in Scandinavian countries that have decriminalized the use of those drugs. Now, I don't, but frankly, I got to tell you that what happens in Scandinavian countries should not dictate this for us.
Right.
That and I think that there is a way to deny health care to these people. It is obvious when somebody shows up with a drug overdose. Don't treat them.
Oh, no, it's not. It's not that obvious.
Oh, look, I'm sorry, Dr. Rob. I think it is. I think it's pretty clear when somebody has a drug overdose. Jackson, go ahead.
Neil, what's happening? I think Rob was an example of using too much drugs.
No, we don't know.
I think I wasn't.
He's just high on life.
I wasn't following his logic too well.
Well, I wasn't either.
As far as what's going on in Europe, my grandma always told me that freedom is the greatest restraint, and the accessibility is, for example, with the drinking age over there, the kids don't look at it as glamorized. But this policy here is completely failed. We're spending billions of dollars of taxpayers' money. David Brinkley had a great example 2 weeks ago on his show.
Yeah.
He said that the Russian mafia got caught in a sting operation buying a mothballed Navy submarine. They could afford it. They just got caught. It's ridiculous. We've got federal judges faced with mandatory sentencing laws that they hate. We've got the Mexican government righteously and rightfully outraged, saying, how can you do this to us, take away this status, when we're doing everything we can, and the problem is in your country. It's a demand problem. The thing that gets me is that not only is the government not doing anything about it, they're going the opposite way. Next year we're going to see these regulations of cigarettes taking effect, which is they're attempting a death, as you say, of 1,000 cuts on the cigarettes. If you want to see what a success that is, look at Canada. Look at the smuggling goes on.
All I want from the cigarette thing is to keep people from smoking them around me.
Oh, I agree 100%.
That's it. But if people want to kill themselves with cigarettes, let them.
That's right, Neil. And I would like to postulate that there are two additional reasons besides the government intervention, the reasons for this. One is it's obviously a political softball for any politician. Oh, I'm fighting drugs. The other is that these police love being cowboys. You can't tell me they don't get a charge out of it.
And I've already kind of touched on it. Hey, thanks for the call. News coming up. But when we get back from this newscast, let me try to make it clear why the government likes to be involved in a drug war. Let me try to make that a little bit more clear to you. 872-0750, that's the number. I'm Neal Boortz, Mighty Whitey, the Talkmaster, Mr. Insensitive, Notorious. Well, we need a name. I need a rap name. Well, Mighty Whitey's a good enough rap name. Okay. We'll be back after the news ferrets have their way with you.
This summer, experience Atlanta Braves baseball like never before at New Turner Field. Tickets for the 1997 season are on sale now. Watch the Braves defend their National League title in the newest, most intimate ballpark in the majors. Come early and play late at the Plaza, Scouts Alley, the Braves Museum, and the Braves Chop House. Call Ticketmaster at 404-249-6400 or 800-326-4000. Or stop by your nearest Ticketmaster outlet or the Gate G ticket window at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium.
As fast as office equipment technology is changing, it's comforting to know there's
the station you trust. News Talk 750 WSB, Atlanta's news, weather, and traffic station. Depend on it.
Good morning, I'm Bob Cox. Our top local story this hour, Cobb County Police spent much of the early morning with federal drug agents surrounding an Austell apartment complex where a drug suspect was believed to be holed up. Well, after firing tear gas in, they stormed the place and found the apartment empty. Let's get a live update now from WSB's Richard Sangster.
Yeah, I tell you what, Bob, those heavily armed cops burst into that apartment after it was clear to them that the person negotiators were talking to was not about to obey their orders. But here's what happened. The only problem is the man cops had been talking to was not the drug suspect, and he was not in the Austell apartment. In fact, he was over on another street several blocks away. Now, D.E.A. agents had been staking out that apartment since early this morning. Now, the man the cops were talking to had no clue what was going on. He had innocently been assigned the phone number that was on record with the apartment managers for the unit the suspect lived in.
D.E.A. agents, as well as New York local authorities, actually observed this individual go into that apartment.
Well, the only problem is, according to police spokesman Dana Pierce, they don't know where he went, and they still don't know where he is. Somehow the suspect slipped out of the apartment, and away from federal agents and cops. This story continues. Reporting live from Austell, Richard Sangster, News Talk 750 WSB.
Atlanta temperature at 10 o'clock, 64 degrees today's weather, partly cloudy, high 76. This news sponsored by the Emory University System of Healthcare. This morning at the tow cars trial in Walker County, the jury will see a prosecution video aimed at persuading them the defendant deserves to die for orchestrating the murder of his wife. Here's a live preview now from
Well, our Neal Boortz Show cartoonist Terry Sells is hard at work, folks. He already has done a picture of us showing a parrot with an automatic weapon fighting back bravely against those intrepid DEA and FBI agents this morning with two parakeets huddling in fear in the background. I think that, I was thinking, this is good, I was thinking of a cartoon of a parrot, a large parrot, with its wings kind of holding on to the two parakeets, one on each side, protecting them as the DE agents bust into this unoccupied apartment after having gassed it and shot it up pretty good. Hey, welcome. Neal Boortz Show on News Talk 750 WSB. Belinda, do you have the letters that John... You're on the Neal Boortz Show. Hi, Jeannie.
Hi, Neil. I was on the hold so long I almost forgot what I was going to talk about. First, I want to tell you something funny, okay?
Okay.
A little funny story about you.
Oh, about me?
Yeah. I was calling around to find out, not recently, a couple months ago, to find out where I could get your Best of Boortz on tape. And I called the wrong bookstore that didn't have it, and I said, do you have the Best of Boortz on tape? And she said, is that classical music?
Oh, no. Boy, you got a hold of some pinhead there, didn't you?
And I laughed. But anyway, because, see, I thought you were infamous in Atlanta. I thought anybody would know who Boortz was.
Well, no, that's not true. In fact, I can...
Only people who listen to talk radio.
No, that's
right?
that's not true either. Now, because we have research, what percentage of the people in the city of Atlanta will recognize my name?
You've researched that?
Oh, yeah.
And you're asking me what percentage of people?
Yeah, I want to see how close you can get.
Well, I thought it was more, but I guess it's not as much as I thought it was.
Well,
40?
No, about 90.
What?
Yeah.
90?
Yeah.
Well, then how come this girl didn't know who you were?
Well, that leaves 10%. That's one of the 10%.
I guess so.
There you go.
Well, anyway, I was calling about doing heroin in your bathtub, you know. I've never done heroin, so I don't know what it does to you, but I would think
What
it
have
would
you done in your bathtub?
taken a bath.
There you go.
Drunk champagne, you know.
Candles.
But I was wondering, it must impair your judgment. So, okay, you're sitting there doing heroin in your bathtub, then you get up and you get out and drive a car.
That's illegal.
Right. But you're saying legalize drugs for, you should be able to do it in your bathtub. As mindless and stupid as that is,
be able to
do it at home.
Yeah, sure.
But
Just
once you go out on the road,
Jeannie,
and
what
it's
if you
illegal,
drink? What if
could
you?
kill somebody?
What if you drink at home and go out on the road drunk?
Yeah.
Then what?
That's another problem. Then you could kill somebody too.
Okay, same thing.
Well, it's not exactly the same.
What's
thing.
different about it?
Heroin and alcohol are different.
Well, I know they're different substances, but you know there are some people that might tell you that you are better able to drive a car after a dose of heroin than you are after a quart of whiskey.
Well, see, I wouldn't know.
I wouldn't either.
Because
never having had either.
I've never had a quart of whiskey myself, and I've never done heroin.
Now, I've smelled like I've had a quart of whiskey, but that was only because my date threw up on me.
Oh, gross. You picked some great gals to go out with, don't you?
Well, that was back in my college days.
Oh,
but you know, I had to try to get them drunk. I was going to find something that worked sooner or later, and evidently it turned out to be a wedding ring. But that's another story.
Oh, and another thing I wanted to mention to you.
I just reminded you of something else.
Yeah. Like a week or so back, you were talking about you wish you had never met your first wife, because nothing really came out of that. But then you said, but I did meet Donna through my first wife.
That's right.
So that's one good thing that came out of it.
That's right.
Well, didn't you have a child with this first wife?
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's another good thing that came out of it.
Well, of course.
Yeah, well, you never mentioned that. That kind of
Well, you're right.
me.
I never do I?
I don't know. That kind of bothered me.
I could be lying about
the fact that
wait. I could be lying about that.
Lying about what?
About having a child by her.
Well, you talk about your daughter a lot.
Oh, no. That's my daughter. That's Donna and mine.
Oh, I didn't know you'd been married to Donna that long.
Oh, you would not believe how long I've been married.
How long?
Oh, almost 50 years.
To Donna?
Sure.
No way.
Yeah.
No way, Neil, because you're only about 50 yourself.
Well, I started young.
I guess so.
I was born horny and couldn't wait.
You remember me calling you when we were talking about shipping wine and it was illegal?
Not specifically, but isn't that stupid?
What?
I mean, the shipping wine thing.
Reports authorities still trying to figure out how a drug suspect gave them the slip after his Cobb County apartment was hit with tear gas and concussion grenades.
The suspect who gave cops the slip this morning is wanted on a host of drug charges, and besides being clever or just plain lucky, the suspect is armed and dangerous. Leo DeFranco is with D.E.A.
There seems to be only one way out of this place. We had visual contact of that doorway since he entered. It's a mystery.
SWAT officers stormed the suspect's apartment after negotiators thought they had him on the phone. It turned out they were talking to a man several blocks away who had no idea what was going on. Apparently, that man had been assigned a phone number someone living here in apartment 1217 once had. From Austell, Richard Sangster, News Talk 750 WSB.
A new twist in a sex scandal at a Maryland Army base.